Finally, alone in the void, she ordered, "Do it already," and the human did the unthinkable. The war had ended, but silence was louder than any explosion. The great starship Eidolon drifted through the black sea of space, broken and dying. Its steel body was torn apart by plasma fire, its engines cold, and its once bright halls were now filled with smoke and drifting dust. Inside, the lights flickered weakly, red emergency bulbs casting long, trembling shadows. Two figures moved slowly through the corridor. One was Commander Jace, a human pilot with ash-streaked hair and blood on his face. The other was Lyra, an alien medic whose silver-blue skin shimmered faintly even in the darkness. Everyone else was gone. Their crew, human and alien alike, had been wiped out when the last missile hit. Now, there were only two survivors. Jace leaned against a wall, breathing hard. The air smelled like burnt metal and ozone. He wiped his face and stared at the ceiling, listening to the ship's dying hum. "If the oxygen system fails," he muttered, "we'll both be dead in 5 minutes." Lyra's voice, soft and trembling, answered from behind him. "Then we better make those 5 minutes count." He turned. She was sitting on the floor, clutching her side. Her hands glowed faintly blue. Her blood. It was leaking slowly from a deep wound under her ribs. Jace rushed forward, dropping to his knees beside her. "You're hit," he said, reaching for his med kit. She tried to laugh, but it came out as a weak cough. "You just noticed?" He gave her a sharp look, but kept working, wrapping a patch around her side. "Don't talk. You'll waste air." Lyra's silver eyes softened. "You humans, always pretending not to care." For a few minutes, they sat in silence. The hum of the ship grew quieter. Somewhere deep inside the hull, something sparked. The sound of metal crying in pain. Then Lyra whispered, spurred, her voice strange and low. "Finally alone. Do it already." Jace froze. His hands stopped moving. "What?" he said carefully. She looked at him, her pupils narrowing like an animal's. "Do it, Jace. Don't make me ask twice." He stared at her, confused, cautious. Was she delirious from blood loss? What did she mean by "do it"? His heartbeat quickened as he glanced around the empty room. The flickering light made her face half-shadowed, half-glowing. She didn't look like the proud medic he had known. She looked desperate. "Lyra," he said slowly, "what are you talking about?" She leaned her head back against the wall and took a shaky breath. "You'll see soon enough, but if you wait too long..." Her eyes fluttered. "I won't survive." Jace clenched his fists. He hated how helpless he felt. He had seen men die in the cockpit, soldiers burn under alien fire, but this was different. This was one person right in front of him, slipping away, and she wasn't human, yet somehow that didn't matter anymore. He grabbed his scanner and checked her vitals. The reading was unstable, her heart rate falling fast. "Damn it," he whispered. "I'm not losing you too." Lyra smiled faintly, her voice soft as a breath. "You don't understand, Jace. My kind. We don't die alone. We share life, but it has to be given. Freely." Jace's eyes widened. "Share life? What are you—" She reached for his hand, her touch warm and trembling. "If I bond with you, I can survive, but only if you agree." He stared at her glowing fingers wrapped around his hand. "That's insane," he muttered. "I'm human. You're—" "Different?" she whispered. "Not that different. Not when death is this close." He wanted to argue, to say no, but her hand was trembling, her breathing slowing. He could feel her slipping away, and something deep inside him, something human, wouldn't let him stand by. "Just tell me what to do," he said. Her eyes opened fully for a moment, shining like starlight. "You already agreed," she said softly. Then she smiled, weak, beautiful, fading. The lights dimmed again. The ship groaned as another power cell failed. Outside the viewport, stars drifted like ghosts. Two survivors surrounded by endless space, no rescue, no hope, only each other. Jace felt the weight of silence pressing on him. His heart pounded in his chest. He looked at her pale face and whispered, "I'm not letting you die, Lyra." She gave a small, tired laugh. "Good. Then hurry, before I change my mind." He stared at her glowing wound, his own hands shaking. Whatever she was asking him to do, it was no normal medical act. It was something ancient, something sacred. He didn't know what would happen, but he was ready. And before we continue this story, if you're enjoying it, please subscribe to our channel, HFY Sci-Fi, for more emotional and powerful sci-fi tales like this one. Your support helps us bring more stories to life every week. Now, let's return to Jace and Lyra, alone in the darkness, where one decision will change both their fates forever. Smoke curled through the air like slow-moving ghosts. The starship Eidolon creaked around them, metal expanding and contracting with every flicker of power. Somewhere deep in the hull, fuel leaked into space, shimmering like liquid stars. Jace sat beside Lyra, his pulse racing. He had heard her words. "You already agreed." But what had he agreed to? She was weakening fast. Her breathing had turned shallow. The glow beneath her skin pulsed slower with every heartbeat. He tore open a storage crate, searching for more med packs, but most were burnt or crushed. "Stay with me," he said. "You're not dying here." Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. "You still don't understand, do you, human?" He turned sharply toward her. "Then explain. You said you could survive if I helped. What does that mean?" She met his eyes. "It means my body can't heal alone. We're not like you. Our strength, comes from connection. From life shared between two minds." Her voice was soft, but it held something deeper. Fear. A faint vibration ran through the floor. The ship's sensors crackled to life for a moment, showing a single red warning, "Unidentified vessel approaching." Then the screen went black again. Jace cursed under his breath. "That can't be right. Nobody should be here." Lyra's hand shot out, gripping his wrist. "Don't move. If they find us before the bond is complete, they'll kill you." "Who will? My people," she whispered. "Or yours. It doesn't matter which finds us first. Both sides will call this treason." Her words hit him like a punch. "Treason? Why?" "Because no human has ever linked with a Zathari," she said. "It's forbidden by both species. Once we bond, we become something else." Jace looked at her in disbelief. "Something else? What are you saying?" Lyra looked down, fingers trembling. "If I die, you stay human. But if I live through this, neither of us will be." The silence that followed was suffocating. The hum of dying engines echoed through the corridors like the heartbeat of a dying beast. Jace finally spoke, voice low. "I've already lost everyone. My crew, my friends. Maybe my humanity doesn't mean much anymore." He placed his hand gently over hers. "Tell me how to save you." Lyra's eyes glowed faintly, not from light, but emotion. "You'll regret it," she said quietly. "Then I'll regret it alive," he replied. She nodded weakly, pressing her palm flat against his chest. Her skin was warm, almost burning. Blue light seeped through her fingers, spreading over his uniform, then into his skin. Jace gasped as a shock of energy ran through him, not painful, but overwhelming. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. He could feel her pulse inside him, their rhythms syncing. Lyra shuddered. "It's starting. The link. What's happening to me?" he stammered, gripping her hand. "Your body is resisting. she whispered. Your cells are trying to understand mine. Don't fight it. But how could he not? It felt like electricity was running through every vein, rewriting something deep inside. Images flashed behind his eyes, stars, burning skies, an alien city of glass towers and glowing rivers, a child laughing, soldiers screaming, then silence. He opened his eyes and gasped. Those weren't my memories. They're mine, Lyra said faintly. The bond doesn't just share life, it shares truth. Her body went limp for a moment, and panic surged through him. Lyra, stay with me. Her eyes flickered open, glowing brighter now. Jace, there's something I didn't tell you. He leaned closer. What is it? My wound isn't from the crash, it was from the device, the same one that destroyed our fleet. Jace froze. You mean? Yes, she said, her voice trembling. It was meant to end both sides, to stop the war by ending everything. But I stopped it. I absorbed part of its energy, and it's still inside me. He stared at her, his heart pounding. You've got a weapon inside you? Not a weapon, she said softly. A storm. Her eyes filled with tears that glowed like liquid light. If I die, it will trigger. It'll destroy everything within 100,000 kilometers. That's why you have to finish the bond. You have to contain it. You're the only one close enough, strong enough, to take it. Jace's throat went dry. You mean, if I don't, we both die? She nodded slowly. And maybe everyone else, too. He felt the air grow colder. The ship creaked again, and outside, a faint red glow appeared. The unidentified vessel was closer now. He looked down at her, torn between fear and determination. Tell me what I have to do. Lyra reached up, her fingers brushing his face. You already started it. Now you must let me in, all the way. You must open your mind. He swallowed hard. And if I can't? Then the storm takes us both. A sharp sound. It broke the moment. A distant clang from the lower deck. Jace froze. Someone, or something, had boarded the wreck. Lyra's eyes widened in alarm. They're here. Who? She shook her head weakly. Not human. Not Zathari. Something worse. Scavengers. Jace reached for his blaster. Then we move. Can you walk? She tried to stand but fell, her legs trembling. Not yet. My energy is too weak without the bond. He grabbed her arm and pulled her up. Then I'll buy us time. Lyra's voice trembled, desperate now. No, Jace. You can't fight them. Not alone. Finish it first. If you link with me completely, you'll have the strength to survive. He looked from her to the door, to the sound of approaching footsteps and metal claws scraping on the deck. His mind raced. If he took her hand again, there was no going back. He might lose himself, or worse, become something he couldn't recognize. But if he didn't, they'd both die here. The lights flickered again. A shadow moved in the corridor. The sound of heavy breathing filled the air. Lyra's whisper cut through the darkness. Do it, Jace, before it's too late. He turned back to her, and in that moment, her eyes glowed brighter than the stars outside. He reached out, grabbed her hand, and pulled her close. Then let's finish what we started. The instant their palms met, light erupted across the room, a blinding fusion of blue and gold. The metal floor cracked under the pressure. Outside, the scavenger ship paused, its scanners reading a sudden burst of impossible energy. Inside the wreck, Jace screamed as the bond deepened, his mind falling into a sea of alien light, memories, and emotions. Lyra's voice echoed in his head for the first time. Welcome to the bond, human. The light faded, but the echoes remained, whispers, images, and sounds that weren't Jace's own. He could hear Lyra's heartbeat, feel her pain, see flashes of memories that belonged to someone else. A planet bathed in silver rain, a city of crystal spires, a mother singing to her child in a tongue of music instead of words. Then the memories shattered like glass. Jace gasped and stumbled, gripping the wall. What's happening to me? Lyra was on the floor, her skin glowing in faint pulses. Her voice was trembling, weak but steady. The ritual has begun. It's binding us. He stared at her. You said this would save your life, not tear mine apart. She looked up at him, tired eyes full of sadness. It's not just my life, Jace. Once it begins, it decides what to keep. You give, I take. I give, you take. Balance must be found, or both die. Her words hit him harder than any explosion. He had entered a bond he didn't understand, and now his own life hung in the balance. The air around them shimmered faintly. The temperature dropped. Every breath came out as mist. The ship creaked, its bulkheads trembling as energy pulsed between them, waves of light crawling across the floor. Jace felt a pressure in his chest, not pain. Something heavier, a weight of emotion, fear, love, regret. He wasn't sure which feelings were his anymore. He looked at Lyra again, her form almost transparent now, like she was fading in and out of existence. Tell me what I have to do, he demanded, her lips parted, voice trembling. You must hold on. Don't fight the bond. Let it read you. Read me? Your soul, she whispered. It will judge if you're worthy. Jace clenched his fists. Worthy? Of what? He was a soldier, a man who had done terrible things to survive, a man who had bombed cities, who had ordered deaths from the safety of orbit. If the bond was truly reading him, Titi would see all of that. The light pulsed again, stronger this time. He felt himself falling, not physically, but mentally, like being dragged through a tunnel of memories. Suddenly, he was no longer on the ship. He was back on Turnus 4, the battlefield. The air burned with plasma fire, and human soldiers screamed through their helmets. The Zathari fleet hovered above, raining destruction. And there, among the chaos, he saw a young Lyra kneeling beside a wounded human, trying to heal him. He remembered that day. He had seen her through his targeting scope, and had chosen not to fire. Now she turned to him, eyes meeting his through the smoke of memory. You remember Mercy, her voice echoed in his head. He gasped as he snapped back to reality. The corridor, the flickering light, the cold metal. His heart was pounding like a drum. You saw that? He said. I felt it, Lyra answered softly. The bond shows me who you are. A sudden metallic thud interrupted them. The door at the far end of the corridor shuddered. Someone was trying to break through. Jace's instincts kicked in. He pulled his blaster from his belt and aimed it at the door. How long until this ritual is done? Lyra looked weakly toward him. Minutes, maybe less. But if it's interrupted, both of us will burn. Then I'll buy you those minutes. He moved to the doorway, pressing his shoulder against the bulkhead. He could hear them outside. Scavengers, their breath ragged through masks. The sound of claws dragging against metal. They weren't human, and not Zathari either. These were raiders, half machine, half living things that fed on battlefield corpses. Lyra's faint voice reached him. They sense the bond. They feed on power. Perfect, Jace muttered. They picked the wrong day. The door cracked open, metal bending. Jace fired. A flash of blue light filled the corridor. As a scavenger screamed, a mechanical shriek echoing through the wreck. More followed. 3, 4. Their eyes glowed crimson as they crawled inside. One leapt at him, claws outstretched. Jace shot at midair, but another struck his shoulder, sending him stumbling. Pain surged through his body, and at the same time, Lyra cried out. She felt it. He realized it instantly. "We share pain," he hissed. Lyra clutched her chest, gasping. "It's the bond. We're one now." He gritted his teeth, lifting his blaster again. "Then you better hold on, because I'm not dying here." He fired again. 2 more scavengers dropped, their bodies sparking. The last one lunged, pinning him against the wall. Its breath smelled of burnt oil and decay. Its metallic jaws opened wide, and just before it could strike, a blinding wave of light erupted behind Jace. Lyra was standing now. Her eyes were glowing white-blue. Energy spiraled from her hands, wrapping around her body like flame made of lightning. The air shook. The scavenger turned toward her, but before it could move, the light tore through it, ripping it apart in an instant. Jace shielded his face from the brightness. "Lyra!" She was trembling, but still standing. Her voice sounded layered, both human and alien at once. "The bond is nearly complete. I can feel your strength." Jace took a step forward, breathing hard. "You could have killed yourself doing that." She smiled weakly. "Not alone. You were with me." Then she collapsed. He caught her before she hit the ground. Her skin was ice-cold now. The glow under her veins flickered weakly, like a dying star. "Lyra, stay with me," he whispered. "What do I do next?" Her voice was barely audible. "You must seal it. Say the words I tell you." He nodded quickly. "Tell me." She reached up, fingers brushing his face. "Repeat. Elar Thamin Korin." "Elar Thamin Korin," he said. A hum vibrated through the air. The ship lights flickered. "Now. Vetra Nalintar. Vetra Nalintar." The glow spread around them, through the walls, through the floor, through the air itself. Lyra's eyes met his one last time. "Now, give me your name." "Commander Jace Holden," he said. "No," she whispered, tears glowing on her cheeks. "Your true name, the one inside." He froze. No one had asked him that before, not even himself. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes. Jace. Just Jace. The glow flared, blinding, searing, alive. Lyra screamed. He screamed with her. The ship shook violently. For a heartbeat, he saw everything. Their souls merging, memories colliding, lifetimes exchanging places. Then, all went still. The air cleared. The ship stopped groaning. Jace opened his eyes. The world looked different. Colors deeper, sounds sharper. He could feel every vibration of the ship, every heartbeat that wasn't his own, because it was also hers. Lyra lay in his arms, breathing faintly, her wound closed and glowing with golden light. Her eyes opened slowly, now a mix of silver and amber. "You did it," she whispered. "The bond is sealed." Jace blinked, realizing his own veins glowed faintly blue. "What happens now?" he asked softly. Lyra smiled weakly, resting her head against his chest. "Now, human, we survive, but not as we were." And outside the wreckage, unseen by either of them, the scavenger ship began to retreat. Its sensors could no longer read the Eidolon, because inside there was no longer one species or the other. There was something new. When the shaking stopped, a strange silence filled the ship, not the silence of emptiness, but of stillness before something immense. Commander Jace opened his eyes, blinking against the dim blue haze that now drifted through the air like fog. His heartbeat echoed in his ears. No, not just his. There was another, perfectly synchronized. Lyra's. He looked down. She was still in his arms, her silver-blue skin now marked with thin, golden veins that pulsed in rhythm with his own heartbeat. Her breathing was steady, her wound completely healed. But there was something else. He could feel her thoughts, not words, not clear sentences, but emotions, a pulse of calm, a wave of exhaustion. Then, a flicker of warmth, soft as light through glass. He swallowed hard. Lyra, can you hear me? Her eyelids fluttered open. Her voice was faint, but steady. Yes, Jace. And I can hear you too. Not your voice. Your heart. The words sent a chill through him. He stood up slowly, helping her to her feet. The lights in the corridor glowed softly now, not red, but white gold. The air even smelled different, cleaner, alive. What happened to the ship? He asked, looking around. Lyra turned her head, her pupils glowing faintly. It's adapting to us, the bond energy. It changed the system. It's alive, like we are. The ship is alive? He said, in disbelief. In a way, she whispered. The Eidolon was built with Zethari biometal, remember? My people grew it. Your engineers just learned to fly it, but now that we're linked, it listens to us. He looked at her closely. You mean you can control it? She nodded, her hand brushing against the wall. Instantly, the metal under her palm rippled, then hardened again. Not control, she corrected softly. Communicate. The wall responded to her touch, a faint hum like a purr. Jace stared, half in awe, half in fear. This is impossible. Lani. Lyra smiled faintly. It was impossible for us to survive too, yet here we are. A sudden ripple of pain ran through Jace's head, a flash of light behind his eyes. He gasped, clutching his temples. Lyra rushed toward him, concern flaring across their bond. What's wrong? He saw images, fragments of memory not his own. Lyra's face as a child, running through crystalline streets, a dark tower in flames, the scream of an alien voice shouting her name. Then another flash, his own memory this time, his squadmates laughing before the last battle, his commander telling him, "No heroics, Jace." Both sets of memories collided and shattered like glass. He stumbled back, breathing hard. I saw. Everything, yours, mine, all mixed up. Lyra's voice shook. It's the bond, deepening. Our minds are learning to live together. It's painful at first. Two histories trying to share one heart. Feels like it's trying to tear my skull open, he muttered. She touched his face, her fingers cool. Focus on one thing, one emotion. It helps align us. He looked into her eyes, silver and gold swirling together like twin galaxies. Focus on what? Anything human, she said softly. So he did. He thought of home, of Earth's warm sunlight and rain that smelled like life, of his mother's garden, of his brother laughing over a broken radio. The pain faded slowly, replaced by a strange calm. Lyra's breathing steadied too. She smiled faintly. It worked. He nodded, still catching his breath. So, what now? Lyra looked around at the glowing ship. Now we see what the universe made of us. A sudden tone echoed through the corridor, a low mechanical ping from the ship's console. Jace moved to it and saw a flickering screen light up. Proximity alert. 1 incoming vessel. Classification unknown. He frowned. Scavengers again? Lyra shook her head, eyes narrowing. No. Sometime hing bigger. He tapped the console, and the screen stabilized for a moment. A massive shadow appeared, sleek, sharp, and covered in glowing red symbols. His blood ran cold. "That's not a scavenger ship. That's a Hunter-class war cruiser." Her voice dropped. "Zathari?" He nodded grimly. "Or human. Either way, if they find us alive, they'll kill us both." Lyra closed her eyes, breathing deeply. "Then we have to hide." Jace looked around. "We can't even move. The engines are fried." "Not anymore," she said softly. "The ship knows what we are now. Let me try." She placed her palm on the wall again. The metal under her touch pulsed with blue light. The deck vibrated, soft at first, then stronger. Jace's eyes widened as he felt the floor moving. No, breathing. The walls rippled like muscles coming to life. Energy pulsed through the entire ship, flowing like blood through veins. The engines roared to life, not mechanical. Organic. Jace stumbled back. "Lyra, what did you do?" "I asked it to wake up," she whispered. It obeyed. Outside, the Eidolon shifted course, its ruined form twisting gracefully. The hull seemed to repair itself, not fully, but enough to move. The Hunter-class ship adjusted its scanners, confused by the sudden life reading. Inside, Jace gripped a handrail. "Can you steer it?" Lyra's expression was focused, distant. "No, it steers itself now. It's protecting us." The ship dove into a debris field. Shattered asteroid fragments and burned-out satellite pieces. The Hunter ship followed, scanning wildly. Jace could feel every turn in his bones, every lurch in his pulse. "Lyra, it's moving too fast." She winced. "It's feeling what we feel. If you panic, it reacts." Jace clenched his fists, forcing himself to calm down. "So I just trust it?" "Trust us," she corrected gently. The ship spun sharply, dodging debris. The Hunter's beam fired, a searing red shot that grazed their side. The impact shook them violently, throwing Jace against the wall. He grunted in pain, and Lyra screamed it too. He same time, clutching her ribs. Their bond pulsed, their pain shared. Jace forced himself up. "You okay?" Her voice was strained. "It hit our wing. The energy lines are bleeding." "Bleeding?" he echoed. She pointed to the glowing fluid dripping from the wall. The same blue-gold light as their veins. "It's alive, Jace. Everything in here is connected to us now. If the ship dies, we die." His breath caught. "Then we finish this before it does." He ran to the control deck, even though the panels looked half-melted. "Can you use the bond to control its power output?" Lyra nodded weakly, joining him. "Maybe, but it will need a sacrifice." He turned sharply. "What kind of sacrifice?" "Energy. From one of us. The ship feeds on life. It will take whatever we give, and more." He stared at her, realizing what she meant. "You want to give it your energy?" She met his eyes. "You can't. You're still adapting. If you try, it will kill you." "Then I won't let you do it either." She smiled faintly. "You can't stop me. You're too human for that." Before he could respond, she placed both hands on the glowing console. Her entire body began to shine, bright and fierce. "Lyra!" he shouted. Her voice echoed through the ship and his mind at once. "Don't stop me, Jace. Let me do this, for both of us." The light spread across the ship, filling every corridor, every wall. The engines flared, brighter than they had in years. The Eidolon exploded forward, out of the debris field, vanishing into the darkness at impossible speed. The Hunter ship fired again, but hit nothing. The human alien vessel was gone. Inside the cockpit, Jace caught Lyra before she fell. Her skin was pale, her glow almost gone. He held her tightly. "You're insane," he said hoarsely. "You'll burn yourself out." She smiled faintly, whispering, "Maybe, but I've seen something. In our bond." He froze. "Bond, what did you see?" Her eyes opened, faint light flickering within. "The future, and Jace. It's not just us anymore." When the glare finally dimmed, a thin mist floated through the ruined corridors of the Eidolon. The ship no longer sounded dead. A low heartbeat throbbed somewhere deep in the hull. Commander Jace blinked, dazed, and felt a second rhythm echoing inside his chest. Steady, calm, not his own. He looked down. Lyra lay in his arms, breathing softly, her wound sealed by a web of faint gold light. When he shifted, her pulse quickened in perfect time with his. "Lyra, you alive?" he whispered. Her eyelids fluttered open. "I am," she said slowly, "and so are you. But we're not the same anymore." The new silence. The silence wasn't empty now. He could feel things inside it, tiny movements in the air, soft vibrations in the walls. The pulse of her mind brushing against his like a whisper, emotions bled across the connection. Her pain, his fear, a shared warmth that confused them both. He touched the wall for balance. It rippled under his hand like liquid metal. Lyra managed a faint smile. "It listens to us now." "The ship?" "Yes. My people grew this metal. It can sense life. Before, it obeyed circuits. Now, it answers hearts." Jace shook his head. "That's impossible." She laughed weakly. "So is surviving that blast." A mind, not his own, pain shot through his skull. Images flared behind his eyes, silver cities under twin moons, a little girl running through glowing rain, then soldiers falling beneath human fire. He gasped and stumbled. Lyra clutched his arm. "You saw them?" "Your memories," he said. "They're in my head." "And yours in mine," she whispered. "It's how the bond learns us. It mixes truth until only what matters remains." "What matters?" "Choice." The hunters, an alarm chirped, weak, broken, but urgent. A screen blinked to life. Proximity alert. Unidentified vessel detected. Jace squinted at the static-filled radar. A long shape drifted closer. Crimson, symbols glowing across its hull. Not scavengers this time. A war cruiser. "Human," he muttered. Lyra's face paled. "Zathari. My fleet. If they see a human linked to one of their own, they'll erase us both," she finished. Waking the Eidolon. "The engines are dead," he said. Lyra pressed her palm to the wall. Blue-white veins spread outward like lightning. "Not dead, sleeping." The deck trembled. Panels flexed as if breathing. A deep note vibrated through the floor, slow, powerful, alive. Outside, broken fins folded back into place, scars closing like healing skin. Jace stared. "You revived it." "No," she breathed. "It revived us." Shared control. The ship drifted into a nearby debris field, hiding among shattered satellites. But the war cruiser followed, scanners sweeping. Jace gripped a railing. "It's tracking our energy." Lyra shut her eyes. "Then we must calm it. The Eidolon feels what we feel. If you panic, it panics." He forced a slow breath, focusing on stillness. Through the bond, he felt her match him, heartbeat to heartbeat. The ship's hum softened, blending with the silence of space. For a moment, it worked, until a red beam sliced past their wing. The impact flung them across the deck. Pain burst through Jace's side, and Lyra screamed with him. Their agony echoed back and forth, one body feeling both wounds. The price of power. We can't take another hit, Jace panted. Can you boost the shields? Only by feeding it, she said. Feeding? The ship draws life to heal. I can give it mine. He grabbed her wrist. No, you'll kill yourself. She smiled, a tired, tender curve of her lips. Would you rather both of us die? Before he could stop her, she spread her hands over the console. Light poured from her skin, flooding every vein of the ship. Lyra! He shouted. Her voice filled his head instead of the air. Trust me, Jace. Hold me in your thoughts. That's enough. He did. He thought of her laughter, of her calm voice when the ship first fell silent. He thought of Earth's blue skies and hoped she would see them one day. Outside, the Eidolon shone like a newborn star. Engines screamed alive. The ship darted through the wreckage with impossible speed, beams glancing off its glowing hull. Then, with a burst of golden light, it vanished into the dark. The war cruiser's scanners read nothing, only silence. After the escape, inside, smoke drifted through the cabin. Jace caught Lyra as she collapsed, her glow fading to a dim shimmer. You're insane, he murmured. You nearly burned yourself out. She smiled faintly against his chest. But it worked. He brushed a strand of silver hair from her face. Don't ever do that again. I saw something while we jumped, she whispered. A glimpse of what's coming. What did you see? Her eyes opened, half silver, half gold. The bond isn't finished. It's growing. The deck beneath them thumped once, twice, like a heartbeat. Metal veins across the walls pulsed in time with theirs. Jace looked around in disbelief. The ship's alive. Lyra shook her head weakly. No, Jace. We are the ship now. And somewhere beyond the hull, something vast and unseen stirred, answering that new heartbeat in the dark. The glow that had spread across the Eidolon began to fade, leaving behind a dim gold shimmer pulsing through the walls. The ship was still alive, but quiet now, almost watchful. Commander Jace sat beside Lyra in the cockpit, both of them breathing heavily. The silence after escape felt heavier than battle itself. Her head rested against the bulkhead, eyes half closed. The faint golden veins across her skin were fading back to silver blue. You shouldn't have done that, Jace said softly. You nearly burned out your life force to save us. Lyra's lips curved into a weak smile. And yet, we're alive. Don't scold me for that. Jace exhaled. You said the bond's growing. What does that mean exactly? Lyra didn't answer right away. She stared at the dim stars outside, as if searching for something far away. It means, she said slowly, that our survival wasn't the end of the bond. It was the beginning. Jace frowned. Beginning of what? Lyra turned to look at him. Her silver and gold eyes caught the faint light. Of something my people call the Elar Nexus, the merging of two life energies to create a third, a shared consciousness. He blinked. A third? As in a new life? She nodded faintly. A new existence. Neither human nor Zathari, but something between, and once it awakens, it can't be undone. Jace's throat went dry. You mean this thing growing inside us, this connection, is alive? It will be, she whispered. When the bond matures, it will wake. A cold silence filled the room. Jace stood slowly. You should have told me this before. Her eyes lowered. Would you have agreed if I had? He stared at her, struggling to answer. You tricked me into it. Lyra's voice trembled. No, I saved you. I saved both of us. If I hadn't bonded with you, the weapon inside me would have detonated. It would have wiped out both fleets. Millions dead, Jace. This was Tashta. He only way. He turned away, pacing the deck. His fists were clenched. So that's it then? I'm just part of some alien experiment? Her voice grew quiet, heavy. Not an experiment. A prophecy. Jace froze. A what? Lyra's eyes shimmered faintly. My people's ancient records spoke of a heart of two suns, a merging of two enemies, human and Zethari, that would give birth to something capable of ending the endless war. I didn't believe it, not until I saw you on Turnus 4. He stared at her in disbelief. You knew about this? That's why you joined the medical ship? I was sent to find you, she admitted softly. Not you, specifically, just someone human. Someone strong enough to complete the bond. Jace's jaw tightened. So, this was all planned? No, she said quickly, reaching for his hand. Not this. I didn't plan the crash. I didn't plan to fall in love with your courage, your anger, your humanity. The word love hung in the air between them, fragile, uncertain. He pulled his hand away. You used me. Lyra's voice broke. No, I chose you. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The ship's heartbeat filled the silence like a ticking clock. Then Jace whispered, So, what happens now? This thing inside us, this third life. What does it do? Lyra looked away. It grows. It learns. And one day, it chooses. Chooses what? She met his gaze again, eyes full of sorrow. Which of us lives? The words hit him like a thunderbolt. What did you just say? Lyra's hands trembled. The Elar Nexus can't maintain two hosts forever. When it awakens, it will decide which soul to keep and which to absorb. Jace took a step back. So this bond you called salvation, it's a death sentence. Tears glimmered in her eyes. I hoped it wouldn't be. I thought we could balance it. But after what happened with the jump, it's accelerating. I can feel it inside me. He stared at her, chest tight. You knew this might happen and didn't tell me. Her voice was a whisper. I couldn't. You would have let me die. He turned away, fists trembling. You think I wanted this? No, she said. But I think you needed it. He spun toward her. Needed it? She stood weakly, her expression calm but full of pain. You've lived your whole life running from death. Orders, battles, missions, all so you wouldn't have to feel the loss of the people you couldn't save. Now you have to feel it. Mine, yours, both. That's the bond's purpose, to teach us empathy so deep it hurts. Jace's voice cracked. You talk like this is some divine lesson. Maybe it is, she said softly. Maybe that's what makes humans worth saving. A deep rumble interrupted them. The deck vibrated under their feet. Warning lights flared across the console. Jace rushed forward. What now? The screen flickered with red symbols. Zethari script. Lyra's face went pale. What does it say? He demanded. Her voice shook. The war cruiser found us. It's locking on. Jace slammed his fist against the console. We can't fight them in this condition. Lyra closed her eyes, whispering something in her language. The walls glowed faintly, responding to her fear. What are you doing? Jace asked. Calling it, she said softly. Calling what? She turned to him, her eyes glowing gold. The Nexus, if it's going to choose, maybe I can make it choose me. Jace stepped toward her, alarmed. Lyra, no. Before he could reach her, a column of light burst from the floor beneath her feet. The air trembled. The ship's metal skin turned molten gold, veins of energy crawling toward the cockpit. Lyra's hair whipped around her face, her body surrounded by an aura of pure light. "Stay back," she cried. "If it senses your fear, it'll kill you first." Jace ignored her. "I'm not leaving you." He lunged forward, grabbing her arm. The instant he touched her, the light engulfed them both. Pain, raw and electric, ripped through his body. He screamed, and she screamed with him. Their minds collided in a storm of memory and light. He saw everything: her birth, her mother's smile, her world burning, her loneliness. And she saw him, his brother's death, his guilt, his promise never to let anyone die again. Then, in the heart of the blinding storm, something looked back at them. A voice, not male, not female, not human, not alien, echoed through their shared mind. One life must be chosen. One heart must remain. Lyra turned to him inside the storm, tears floating like drops of light. "Jace, let me go." He shook his head. "Not a chance. If you fight it, we both die. Then we die together." The light around them grew brighter, their silhouettes merging. And then, the Eidolon screamed. The ship's body convulsed, energy surging outward in a wave that shattered the nearby asteroid field. The war cruiser, mid-pursuit, was hit by the explosion and vanished from sensors. When the light faded, only silence remained. Inside the cockpit, Jace was still holding her, both of them unconscious, glowing faintly in the dark. The ship's heartbeat pulsed once, deep and strong, then twice, then two rhythms, perfectly synchronized again. Outside, the stars burned quietly. Inside, something ancient stirred within their bond, awake now, watching, waiting. The Elar Nexus had chosen, but it hadn't yet revealed who it had chosen to keep. Darkness, endless and cold. Commander Jace drifted in it, weightless, thoughtless, until a heartbeat echoed in the void. Not his own. A different rhythm, softer, slower, familiar. Lyra. He gasped and jolted awake, his lungs filled with heavy, metallic-tasting air. The faint hum of the Eidolon surrounded him again, steady, alive. The lights were dim, but glowing faintly gold, like candlelight in a tomb. For a moment, Jace couldn't move. His body felt heavy, every muscle stiff, as if he'd been unconscious for days. His vision blurred, then cleared, revealing the cockpit. It was empty. "Lyra?" His voice cracked in the silence. No answer. He stood unsteadily, holding the edge of a console for balance. The panels were alive with slow pulses of light, veins of gold and blue running through the walls like living arteries. Something about the ship felt different. It was calmer now, not broken or wild like before, but focused, listening. "Lyra," he called again, louder this time. Still nothing. Then a soft, familiar whisper brushed through his mind. "Don't shout, human. You'll wake the ship." He froze. "Lyra?" The voice sighed gently in his head. "You don't have to call me. I'm right here." He spun around, but there was no one behind him. Only the shimmering walls and the faint hum of the engines. His chest tightened. "Where are you?" "Everywhere." He blinked, confused. What the hell does that mean? A soft laugh echoed in his thoughts, distant but warm. When the Nexus chose, it didn't destroy either of us. It joined us completely. I'm part of you now, and part of the ship. Jace's breath caught. He pressed a hand against the wall. It pulsed beneath his fingers, like a heartbeat. "You're in the ship?" "In, around, and through," she said, The Eidolon needed a mind to anchor its power. I became that anchor. I am the ship now, Jace. He swallowed eyes, hard, heart pounding. You mean you're gone? Not gone, she whispered gently. Changed, evolved, and you're the link that keeps me from vanishing completely. Jace's jaw tightened. You sound too calm about this. Would you rather I screamed? He exhaled shakily. I'd rather have you back where I can see you. You will, soon. Before he could ask what she meant, the lights in the cockpit dimmed, then flared red. A harsh alarm blared across the ship. Incoming signal. Multiple contacts detected. Jace turned to the console. The radar showed 6 signatures approaching fast. He frowned. That can't be the war cruiser. It was destroyed. It wasn't. Lyra's voice darkened. You only saw the blast wave. They survived. And they're angry. He clenched his jaw. How far out? Minutes. Jace's instincts kicked in. Then we move. Can we still jump? Not yet. The jump core needs stabilization. But what? There's something else. Something following them. Not Zathari, not human. He froze. Another ship? Something worse. The console flickered, showing a distortion behind the enemy fleet. A faint shimmer of black energy, like a shadow moving through space. It wasn't solid, not mechanical. More like a void swallowing light itself. Jace whispered, What is that? Lyra's tone was uneasy. The echo. It's drawn to the Nexus's energy. It feeds on creation. And it's coming for us. He stared at the monitor in disbelief. Feeds on creation. What does that even mean? It means it eats life. The red dots on the radar split, surrounding the Eidolon. 6 Zathari ships formed a perimeter, while the shadowy anomaly crept closer from behind them, devouring the stars. Jace gritted his teeth. All right. We've got 2 options. Run or fight. Running will only delay it. Fighting might end it. Then we fight. You don't understand, she said, softly. To fight it, you'll need me. All of me. He frowned. You already have all of me. No, she whispered. Not yet. You're still holding back. Jace's pulse quickened. He could feel her inside his mind now, faintly tugging at his emotions, his memories. What are you doing? I'm opening the rest of the bond. If we're going to survive this, we can't stay as 2. We have to become 1. Before he could respond, his chest flared with heat. His veins glowed faintly blue, matching the gold light that now filled the cockpit. The ship responded instantly. Every console, every corridor, every fragment of metal vibrated with a deep, resonant hum, like a choir of energy awakening. Jace gasped, gripping the control panel. Lyra, what's happening? The Nexus is merging us fully. Don't resist it this time. Pain surged through him, not physical but spiritual. His vision blurred, the cockpit melted into light. He could see everything, not just the ship, but the stars, the enemy fleet, the black shadow approaching. It was all inside his mind, and she was there too. Lyra stood before him in the light, her form glowing, eyes soft and golden. This is our final link, she said. If we do this, we stop being human and Zathari. We become something new, but if we fail, he nodded. We both die. I get it. Her gaze softened. Jace, yeah? She smiled faintly. If this works, remember that I chose you. He took her hand, solid and warm, though made of light, and pulled her close. Then let's finish what we started. In the real world, the Eidolon came alive. The ship's hull expanded and retracted like lungs, gold veins glowing brighter. The incoming Zathari fleet opened fire, plasma beams streaking through space, but each one was swallowed by a shimmering barrier of light. Then the Eidolon moved, faster than any human ship should, faster than thought. It cut through the enemy formation, leaving trails of energy behind. One by one, the ships exploded in bursts of white fire. Inside, Jace's voice and Ira's voice spoke as one, no more war. But the black shadow behind them was still there, growing larger, hungrier. The echo stretched out, its edges writhing like a living storm. It spoke without words, a deep vibration that shook Jace's bones. You are not meant to exist. Jace gritted his teeth. Too bad. Lyra's voice merged with his. We exist because we chose to. The echo surged forward, its form swallowing light and sound alike. The Eidolon charged straight into it. Inside the cockpit, energy flared so bright it turned space white. For a moment, Jace could see everything. The stars bending, the bond between him and Lyra burning like fire. Then, through the blinding light, Lyra's voice whispered in his mind, If we survive this, you'll never be alone again. The ship vanished into the shadow. Silence followed. No debris. No explosion. Only a faint, lingering pulse of golden light, drifting where the Eidolon had been. But deep inside that golden flicker, two voices whispered, entwined, eternal. Lyra, Jace. And far beyond them, the universe itself seemed to pause, watching, waiting, as something new awakened in the dark. The next evolution of both races. The first of its kind. For a long time, there was nothing. No sound, no light, no air, just darkness, endless and complete. Then, a heartbeat. Slow, deep, and powerful. Thump. The void trembled. Thump. Golden light cracked open the dark, like dawn breaking over a dead world. Commander Jace gasped and opened his eyes. He was floating, not in space, not in the ship, but in something vast, alive, and glowing. The air shimmered around him like liquid starlight. He could breathe, but there was no atmosphere. He could see, but there was no source of light. It was like existing inside a dream. And then a soft voice whispered beside him. Familiar, gentle, warm. Welcome back, human. He turned sharply. Lyra stood there, not as before, not in flesh and bone, but in light. Her form glowed softly, her hair flowing like silver fire, her eyes golden and infinite. Lyra, he whispered, barely breathing. Where are we? She smiled faintly. Everywhere. He looked around and gasped. The Eidolon was there, but completely changed. No longer a broken starship of metal and steel. It was alive, a creature of energy and form. Its hull shimmered like translucent crystal, veins of gold running through it. The control panels floated freely, pulsing softly like living hearts. The bond, he muttered. It changed everything. Lyra nodded slowly. The Elar Nexus reached full maturity inside the echo. We didn't die, Jace. We transcended. He frowned, his voice low and shaky. Transcended? Into what? Her smile was calm, but her eyes glimmered with sorrow. Into what we were meant to become. One soul in two bodies, and one body in the stars. He looked down at his own hands, faintly glowing, like hers. His veins pulsed with golden blue light. His reflection on the glass wall wasn't human anymore. His pupils glowed faintly, his scars gone. His body felt lighter, his senses sharper. What did we do? He whispered. Lyra stepped closer. We ended the line between species, between enemies, between what was and what could be. He tried to speak, but stopped, because the ship around them moved. Not through engines, not with fuel, but with thought. A single pulse from his chest sent ripples across the walls. The Eidolon responded like a living being, adjusting, reshaping, listening. "You're controlling it," Lyra said softly. "Without words. Without effort." Jace blinked. "No. We're controlling it." She tilted her head. "Exactly." Their eyes met, and in that instant, he could feel her emotions completely. Peace, wonder, sadness, love. The bond was no longer painful. It was harmony. But the peace didn't last long. The gold light around them flickered. The air trembled with a distant vibration. Lyra's expression darkened. "It's not over." He frowned. "What do you mean?" "The echo. It didn't die. It changed, like we did." He felt it then, a faint hum, deep and vast, like thunder beneath creation. Jace clenched his fists. "It's following us." Lyra nodded. "It's curious now. It saw us merge and survive. It wants what we have." "And what's that?" Her eyes glowed. "Life." Outside the glowing hull, space rippled, and the black storm appeared again, stretching for miles, silent and alive. The echo's form pulsed and twisted, absorbing light, forming shapes that looked almost human. Jace felt its presence in his mind, cold and ancient. A voice that wasn't sound at all whispered through the void. "Give us the Nexus." Lyra flinched. "It's trying to take the bond." "Over my dead body," Jace growled. The ship vibrated under his anger, the walls glowing brighter in response. Lyra touched his hand. "Then we stand together." The echo struck first. A surge of darkness slammed into the ship, shaking its golden structure. The walls screamed, "Rip!" This of energy bursting outward. Jace felt pain lance through his body. "It's attacking through the link!" Lyra grabbed his shoulders, her own form flickering. "Focus! The Nexus reacts to emotion. Give it strength, not fear." He closed his eyes and focused. On Earth, on humanity, on every life he'd fought to protect. He felt the warmth of the sun, the laughter of his crew, the memory of hope. The golden light around them flared, brighter than a star. The echo recoiled. Lyra's voice grew fierce, echoing in his head. "Together, Jace." He nodded. Their voices merged again. "We are one." Energy erupted from the Eidolon, a shock wave of pure light that shattered the darkness. The echo screamed, its form unraveling into wisps of shadow. But even as it dissolved, part of it reached for them, a tendril of black energy that pierced the ship and wrapped around Lyra's light form. She gasped, her body flickering violently. "Lyra! It's pulling me in!" she cried. "It wants the core!" Jace reached for her, their hands glowing as they touched. The tendril burned against his arm, cold as death. He could feel it trying to rip her away, and with her, half of his soul. He shouted into the void, "You want life? Take mine!" The tendril snapped, exploding into ash. The echo screamed one last time before dissolving into starlight. Silence returned. The light of the ship dimmed to a calm golden glow. Jace collapsed to his knees, breathing hard. Lyra knelt beside him, her form trembling but whole. "You idiot," she whispered, smiling through tears. "You gave part of yourself to it." He looked at her, exhausted. "You'd have done the same." She nodded softly. "That's why it couldn't take us." He smiled faintly. "Guess we're stuck together for good, huh?" She laughed, a sound like music. "Until the stars die." The Eidolon drifted quietly through the aftermath of the battle. Behind it, The remnants of the echo scattered into the void, forming trails of golden dust that shimmered across space. Inside, Jace and Lyra stood at the viewport, watching the stars. Lyra spoke first. "You realize what we've become?" He nodded slowly. "A bridge. Between what was and what's next." He turned to her. "So what now?" She smiled. "Now, we build something worth surviving for." Far away, in the cold expanse between galaxies, sensors from both human and Zathari outposts detected something impossible. A golden light moving faster than any known ship, leaving behind trails of harmonic energy. The scientists called it the Starborn Signal. Neither side knew what it was. Both sides would come to fear it, but in time, they would learn the truth. It was not a weapon. It was a message, a heartbeat, a reminder that humanity and its enemies had, at least once, become one. And somewhere within that golden light, a voice whispered, soft, eternal, full of warmth, finally alone, but never truly apart.